of the field with Pam Oliver, Mike Sherman, the head coach of the Packers. Pam.
All right, thanks a lot, Dick. Mike, facing a team with nothing to lose, your team still with plenty to gain. What needs to happen today if the Packers are going to come out of here with a victory?
Well, we have to be able to control the football offensively. They're a very good offensive football team. They can take time off the clock. We have to avoid the turnovers and create great field position.
Mike Strahan with a very real chance to set a record today for sacks in a season. What's your plan to keep him off your quarterback?
Well, he's a great player, and our focus is more on winning the football game than keeping him from getting his record. Hopefully the offensive line will address that. But he's a great player. He's going to make his plays, but our focus is more on winning the football game.
All right, thanks, Mike. The offensive line did go with that, Dick. They said, let's go Strahan. That was their motto. Back to you.
A good motto, Pam. And how well has Mike Sherman done in his first 31 games? Compare his record to that of Vince Lombardi and Mike Holmgren. Pretty impressive. 20-11, just one game behind the great Vince Lombardi after 31 games. Already in the playoffs. The question is against whom and where. Ryan Longwell will kick off, and the Giants winning the toss. Omar Stoutmire on the left, and Jonathan Carter, the rookie, is on the right, and it's going to be Carter at the 8 returning for the Giants. And a flag goes down, and Jonathan Carter is down at the 26-yard line. So a penalty on the return. Johnny Greer, the referee, and that will set the Giants back.
Yeah, and what a horrible way to start this football game for the New York Giants. This is a football team that has struggled with field position on kickoff returns all season long. Here they open this game with a penalty.
So Kerry Collins bringing out the Giants and the offensive line, and a lot of veterans with Lomas Brown, Glenn Parker, and Dusty Ziegler. Jason Whittle again at right guard, and picking up for Ron Stone, who's out with the wrist injury. Amani Toomer and Ike Hilliard are the wide receivers. Barber and of course Ron Dane, as Moose Johnson mentioned. Dane is in there now on first down from the 9-yard line following the penalty. And the pitch going to Dane, who fumbles and recovers at the 5. So if you think the penalty on the kickoff was bad, what about that? Defensively for the Green Bay Packers, and they have had big problems against the run. Bonnie Holiday, Santana Dotson, Jim Flanagan starting for Gilbert Brown again. Nate Wayne is back in action after missing 3 games. He is a terrific tackler. And Tyrone Williams and Mike McKenzie, the corners. Darren Sharper and Bao Ju, the safeties. So following the loss of 3, Giants with a 2nd down and 13. Toomer going in motion, and the handoff to Ron Dane. He gets an opening and brings it out to the 12-yard line, where Nate Wayne, getting back into action, makes the stop.
Nice job by Jason Whittle there as Bernardo Harris blitzes on the cadence of the quarterback. Good job of seeing that and picking him off and giving the running back an opportunity to find a lane. Bernardo Harris right there. And it's surprising this defense has been the talk of the Green Bay Packers, yet nobody on the Pro Bowl to represent them. And then the few injuries that they have has limited their production. It shows you what a great team concept they have.
Kabir Baja-Biamila, second to Michael Strahan, and quarterback Sachs is in there on 3rd down and 7. Kerry Collins pushed back and gets rid of it. Very close to being tackled at the goal line, and it was Baja-Biamila with the big pressure, forcing the Giants to kick from the end zone.
Well, here's Kabir Baji-Biamila working against Lomas Brown, and Lomas Brown has been criticized all year for, you know, his lack of movement there, but he doesn't get much help there from his left tackle or left guard Glenn Parker, and he's able to get pressure there on Kerry Collins. So
Antonio Freeman going back, and Rodney Williams, whose long punt this year of 90 yards occurred in the opening game at Denver. And there's the kick. It's a good one. And backing up is Freeman inside the 40 and down. So good kick by Williams, and terrific coverage led by Ron Dixon. What a heartbreaking that loss that was last week, when Dixon on the big lateral play was knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line, preventing the Giants from a miracle finish. For the Green Bay Packers, and the offensive line, and Brett Favre says maybe the most talented that has been in front of me. Mark Tauscher, the right tackle, will be going against Michael Strahan today. Amon Green and Bubba Franks headed for the Pro Bowl. And it's tough to stop both the run and the pass. Brett Favre will be going to Honolulu for the 6th time in his career from the 38. Pressure by Strahan, and getting rid of it is Favre, and he finds a wide open receiver, Bubba Franks. So from one Pro Bowler to another, the pass completion to Franks good for 23 yards to the Giant 39-yard line.
Well, you talked about Michael Strahan being only 1 sack away and having to worry about him. They've got Tyrone Davis on him all by himself, a tight end. That's a matchup that you wouldn't think would favor the Pack. Good thing Brett Favre had the ability to scramble outside.
Yeah, Brett Favre's able to get outside. Bubba Franks finding a hole there, and the Packers want to come out, spread them out. Right there, they were in a 2 tight end package, 2 wide receivers, and Bubba Franks able to work across the middle of the field, find a hole. Brett gets him the ball.
Corey Bradford is in his wide receiver as Franks goes out. First down on the 39, and the handoff to Amon Green, and Green picking up about 3.5 yards on the play. The Giant defense, they gave up 10 points in the last 2 minutes against the Eagles. Strahan headed for the Pro Bowl with Griffin, Hamilton, and Holmes up front. So is Jesse Armstead at outside linebacker. Mike Barrow in the middle along with Brandon Short, and rookie Will Peterson starting again at cornerback. Dave Thomas is in for Will Allen, and again Jason Sehorn out of action for the Giants with the ankle injury. May face surgery. It'll be 2nd and 7 on the New York 36-yard line. Here's Green, and Green carries a defender, and it's Sean Williams down to the 26-yard line, and a first down for the Packers as Green picks up 10.
And one of the things that this Green Bay running offense does is it really puts pressure. Here's Mike Wall. He's going to pull and kick out Michael Barrow. And it's tough to defend a team when they create lanes like this, whether they do that with pulling linemen or with the fullbacks and the tight ends just running that lead power game.
And it doesn't take much of a crack there for Amon Green to find a opening and get up in there with his burst that he has and the power that he has to run the football.
Green is split out to the left, and Favre looking his way, going wide open is Schrader. Touchdown Packers. Bill Schrader wide open in the end zone, and Brett Favre finds him for the 31st touchdown pass for Favre, and the Packers jump on the Giants early.
Well, the biggest key, if you give Brett Favre time to deliver the football, he's going to tear you up. And you can see right here the job the offensive line does, giving him enough time to sit in the pocket and make the throw. You got Bill Schrader, and it looked like a bust in coverage. Dave Thomas looked like he was going to have some help over the top from a safety.
Ryan Longwell adds the extra point, and with less than 4 minutes gone by, the Packers have taken a 7-0 lead on the 26-yard touchdown pass by Favre. Packers take a 7-0 lead, and for Bill Schrader, that is his 9th touchdown reception of the year, and it didn't take long. 4 plays, 62 yards for Brett Favre, who has thrown 30 touchdowns or more 6 seasons. That's an NFL record, and nobody close to him. So if you think the Giants were an uphill climb coming into this game with nothing to play for as far as the playoffs are concerned, now they're trailing early by 7. Longwell's kick retrieved by Jonathan Carter, and Carter, the rookie from Troy State in Alabama, brings it out to the 26. Gary Collins going to work again for the Giants. Packers, who have 11 victories this year, the most since the last time they were in the playoffs back in 1998. They finished 11-5.
And you see Dave Dixon there talking to defensive coordinator John Fox, trying to get straightened out the miscommunication on that last play.
5 wide receivers, empty backfield from the 27, and the slant is caught by Amani Toomer, and Toomer picks up the first down near the 40.
Well, there's another look at the touchdown. You see Dave Thomas right here. He's the corner, and he thinks he's going to get safety help. He bites up on Amon Green. This is the safety here that he thought he was going to be getting some help from, and he wasn't over the top. It looked like it was a busted coverage by Dave Thomas. And
Michael Strahan, the problem that he possesses to a blocker is the speed to get around the edge and the power to push you back. Mount Tarsha doing a good job so far.
Tiki Barber into the game, and the handoff is to Barber, who had a big game last week, but nothing doing as he tries to go left. Bao Zhu, who has played well in place of Leroy Butler out with the shoulder injury. A very tough loss for the defense, but Zhu, the rookie from Penn State, has performed admirably.
Well, he has performed admirably, and he's got big shoes to fill, as you mentioned, coming in for Leroy Butler, and he's done a nice job of making the calls. He was a corner in training camp. They moved him to safety after they broke camp, but he has played well. And there's a look at Leroy Butler, and this team misses his leadership out there on the field.
2nd down and 9. Marcellus Rivers in the game, a tight end for the Giants. Collins is pass, and it is picked off by Darren Sharper and knocked out of bounds. So the Giants stumble offensively on their first series, give the Packers good field position, and they turn it over as Darren Sharper, with his 6th interception of the year, gives the Packers the ball again in Giant territory. 2nd interception in as many weeks. Last week he coughed it up after picking it off. He kept it going out of bounds, and the Packers, with Brett Favre on the Giant 44, leading 7-0. And the pass is caught by Schrader, and Schrader out of bounds, a rifling pass, and that's good for 15.
Well, go back and take a look at the interception. You're going to see Marcellus Rivers right here and Darren Sharper, and you watch what happens on an out route. That ball has to be thrown out here, and anytime you throw behind a receiver on an out route, you open the door for the safety to come underneath them and make the interception, and that's what happened. Darren Sharper comes across his face and makes the play.
And on 1st down, the handoff is to Amon Green going left, and Sean Williams makes the tackle, and a pickup of nearly 5. And Hamilton, who has had a terrific year for the Giants but has not been healthy, slow getting up, holding on to his left knee.
Another area that the Packers would like to improve on to generate some momentum going into the playoffs is running the ball. They've been very inconsistent the last few weeks. Amon Green will have a really good game, and he'll follow that up with a poor outing. So this is another area, but I tell you what, he's got an opportunity today to be the first Packer in team history to have over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. So a great season for Amon Green.
Had only 31 yards on the ground last week. Breaks the tackle, and Amon Green, being chased by Sean Williams, goes into the end zone for a touchdown. And how easy can it get for these Green Bay Packers, who have so much riding on this game? That was a 25-yard touchdown by Amon Green, and his 8th score that way this season.
Well, the biggest thing that helps set that up is they've given a lot of different personnel packages, and they got the fullback William Henderson in there, and then you see the big hole up inside. And again, Amon Green is as good as anybody in this league this year at breaking tackles and getting through those tackles and scoring touchdowns.
And Ryan Longwell giving the Packers a 14-0 lead as the Packers capitalize on Darren Sharper's interception and lead by 2 scores midway through the 1st. Packer fans, young and old, here, and cheeseheads in the stadium as the Packers, next to the Rams, the most opportunistic, scoring off of turnovers, and they did so there. Amon Green, he's going to the Pro Bowl, well deserved at his first, and it was set up by Darren Sharper's interception. So the Packers lead 14-0, and the Giants so far have come out not ready to play in this one. This kickoff going to Jonathan Carter. Carter to the 25-yard line, and is finally tackled short of the 35.
Well, let's go back and take a look at the touchdown. Keith Hamilton, he's a defensive tackle right there. He was hurt on the previous play. He's got a knee sprain right now. He's questionable to come back. Jesse Armstead has a great feel of knowing when he can run under blocks. He puts himself in position to make the play, but as Amon Green breaks the tackle, and Troy, you talked about, you know, that's one of the best things he's done this year is yards after first contact, and Jesse Armstead unfortunately couldn't make that play.
5th Pro Bowl for Jesse Armstead. 1st and 10 at the 33. Ron Dane is back in there at tailback. And here's Dane. And Dane crossing the 35-yard line. Last week, Michael Bennett gained over 100 yards against the Packers for the Vikings, and his predecessor at the University of Wisconsin, Dane, getting the call early here.
Well, with Ron Dane, I mean, he's a guy who really, they need to come, and this offensive line needs to push people off the ball. And that's an area where they have really struggled this year. But for Ron Dane to be successful, that's what has got to happen. He doesn't have the cutback ability that a Tiki Barber has.
2nd down and 7. Dane went out, Barber came in, and Kerry Collins completes to Amani Toomer. You saw the score that the 49ers have jumped ahead of the Saints 7-0. And of course, the Packers need to win to have the home field next week in the wild card game. Green Bay has never lost a game at Lambeau Field in 10 starts in postseason. If the Packers were to stumble and they're leading by 2 touchdowns and the 49ers win, Green Bay then has to go to San Francisco next weekend.
Yeah, I think the fact that you mentioned that they've not lost a home playoff game, that just illustrates how important this game is and how important it is for them to have a playoff game at Lambeau because of the success they've had over the years there.
And Mike Sherman, who wears 2 hats as coach and general manager. You see the signal, first down for the Packers. Green Bay over 100 total yards thus far. The Giants 29.
You know, and Mike Sherman is interesting. You see he's not wearing a hat here, and it is pretty cold down there on the field. And he doesn't wear a big bulky jacket. And the reason for that is he says it'd be hard for him to stand in front of his team and say, don't worry about the cold, while he's wearing earmuffs and gloves and a big heavy coat.
Got a good point. Got to set an example. And movement in the line. And Luke Pettigrew, the Giant right tackle.
False start. Number 77, offense.
And right now for a game break, let's check in quickly with James Brown. JB.
Hey, Dick, Troy, and Darrell, you guys were talking about a possible opponent for Green Bay. Here it is, San Francisco. Garcia hooking up with who else? Terrell Owens, 56 yards. Career-high 15 touchdowns for Terrell Owens. 7-0 San Fran. Back to Dick Stockton, Troy Aikman, and Darrell Johnson.
And guys, you're right. The home field in that game is huge for the wild card. Of course, the Packers still hoping they can eke out a division win. If the Bears lose and they win. First down and 15 on the screen pass. Greg Camella, the Giant fullback, putting on a burst of speed. Gets into Packer territory and is upended at the 37-yard line by Tyrone Williams. A 26-yard pass and run for the Giants.
Well, and Baljew there, he just took a bad angle. He read it all the way as to where the play was coming. You see him. He's going to be working up here on the outside right there. Baljew, he comes up inside rather than taking containment, and it allows Greg Camella to get outside and get a big gain.
And that was one of the big problems in the running game over the last 3 weeks. One of the things that they have done is give up outside contain, and Baljew, one of the guys most responsible for those types of errors.
From the 34-yard line, here's Amani Toomer, and the pass thrown behind him, but flags come down as Mike McKenzie over there along with Darren Sharper, and the penalty flag is down.
Well, it looks like they're going to call
Offensive.
it on the offense.
Right. Mike McKenzie, who returned an interception for a touchdown last week.
Pass interference. Number 81, offense. Still first down.
So that'll set the ball back to the Packer 46.
Well, there's another look at it, and Amani Toomer here working against Mike McKenzie, and the content. Well, there's the push right there on the left shoulder of Mike McKenzie that they called him for. Each week we talk to teams when we've done these Packer games, and they always say they want to go after Mike McKenzie, but Mike McKenzie continually makes plays.
Why do they want to go after him? Here's the handoff up the middle. Tiki Barber, and Barber picking up a good chunk of yardage, nearly 9 on the play. Niall Diggs making the tackle for the Packers.
Well, we think we're going to get a heavy dose of Ron Dane today because Jim Fossil really likes that matchup against his Green Bay front. But Bernardo Harris, he was more worried about Tiki Barber, the guys that they have played the last 3 weeks, the cutback style, the ability to hit the holes quick and change direction. That was what scared him the most. So probably not too happy to see Tiki getting out to a good start.
Giants looking to end up 500 on the year after going to the Super Bowl. Second down, 11. Straight drop back. Collins completes to Toomer, and the first down. So Amani Toomer going up high to make that catch, beating Mike McKenzie on a nifty 27-yard play.
Well, the biggest thing is Mike McKenzie was sitting outside on Toomer, and he allows Toomer to get up inside, and he has the whole field for Kerry Collins to deliver the football. Nice route by Amani Toomer, but it was set up more by the positioning of Mike McKenzie at the snap as opposed to anything he did after that.
Toomer needed 25 yards for his 3rd consecutive 1,000-yard season, tying a Giant record. He got it on that play. First and goal at the 10. Handoff, Ron Dane with Dusty Ziegler blocking, but the Packers play it well. Led by Vonnie Holliday, and no gain on first down.
And the Packers got penetration there with you know, Dusty Ziegler knocking him off the ball, and that's what disrupted that play there. And you know, Monty Toomer on that last play, he's a guy that the Giants really need to step up. He's had some opportunities in some games, some big games. He had a couple opportunities last week in a big game against Philadelphia, and he didn't make those plays. And they want to see him be more consistent and be more of a playmaker in big ball games.
Second and goal on the 10. Straight ahead goes Barber, and he gets to the 8-yard line. Baoju forcing the play from the secondary, bringing up 3rd down and goal. The Giants, I don't know whether you'd say that this is 2 down territory when you're out of the playoffs and they're trailing by 14.
Well, when Pam talked to Mike Sherman, she brought up a good point. This is a team that has nothing to lose. The New York Giants going against the Packers, who have a lot to gain. So yeah, we could see a 4th down attempt into the end zone right here.
And the Packers, along with the Giants, toughest red zone defense, along with the leader Philadelphia. 3rd down and goal at the 8. And here is Collins, and his pass to Hilliard. Touchdown Giants. Hilliard kept both feet inbounds and made the grab for the touchdown, and the Giants have come back. Well, they don't need 2 plays after all.
Well, what a great job by the offensive line, giving Kerry Collins some time to throw the football, and that's where it all started. You'll watch, and he'll sit back here and have all day to throw the football, and what started it was all the motions and shifts that gave him an opportunity to get a little bit of a misadvantage in the secondary. He delivers the football. Ike Hilliard does a great job of showing his catching the ball, keeping his feet in bounds.
And the Packers are going to challenge that Hilliard had both feet in bounds. And it looked like he did. You can see the grass on the right foot, but Mike Sherman has thrown the red flag, and the Packers are going to use one of their 2 challenges on that play.
Well, it looked
Possession of the ball with both feet down in the end zone. We have a touchdown.
As we suspected all the way, so the challenge, and that will be a timeout charged to the Green Bay Packers, and they only have 1 challenge the rest of the way. So the scoring drive, 8 plays, 67 yards. Kerry Collins 4 for 4, capped with the touchdown pass. And it is now 14-6. Morton Anderson, the veteran who the Giants brought on, a high snap, and the kick is good. Anderson has kicked well this year. There is Sean Payton, the offensive coordinator, but it was Ike Hilliard's great catch giving the Giants their first score. Looking sluggish and mistake prone early, get it together to get back in the game, trailing now 14-7. And the Giants will be going on defense as Kerry Collins looks at the pictures from above. Owen Potchman will kick off for the Giants. Dorsey Levens and Todd McBride are back deep for the Packers. And it's Levens at the 7, returning for Green Bay. Dorsey Levens straight ahead, and Levens getting to the 39-yard line before Stoudemire and Brown bring him down. Good return by Levens of 31 yards.
And that's an area of concern for Coach Mike Sherman in this Green Bay Packers. They have not established good field position in their return games. On the kickoff returns or the punt returns, he's experimented with a lot of different things. That injury to Allen Rossum has really put them behind the 8 ball. It's one of the other key areas that they'd like to shore up before going into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why they got Todd McBride back there now. He's been doing such a great job in special teams. They wanted to get him back there to be a blocker for Dorsey Levens, and it's been working.
Lance Legree has replaced Keith Hamilton, and the pass caught by Amon Green and going out of bounds at the 44-yard line. So Hamilton will not be back. He has a sprained knee, and Legree replaces him. And our chance to remind you that next week the NFL's second season kicks off as the playoffs begin with an NFC wild card game here on Fox. 2 of the NFC's finest will take the field to determine which one will keep their Super Bowl hopes alive. NFC wild card showdown next Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on Fox. So Hamilton sits the rest of this one out. 2nd and 4 for Brett Favre, and he's going to Freeman, and the pass is incomplete. No flags, and good coverage downfield that time by Dave Thomas with help from the strong safety Sam Garnes.
Well, it was good coverage there by Dave Thomas, and You know, he's making his start today, and he was a guy who started last year for this team when they went on to go to the Super Bowl, and he lost his job to Will Allen, a young rookie who's not active today with an injury. But Dave Thomas has hung in there all year long. He's getting his opportunity today. See what his future is going to be with this football team, but a guy who's come a long way. He started his career in Dallas, and not a lot of talent, but he's an extremely hard worker, and he's made the most of what he's got.
As Allen looks on from the sidelines, out with a heel injury, 3rd and 4, and on the fake inside handoff, a whistle and a penalty with 3 minutes to go in the first.
Snap. False start. 68. Offense.
Mike Wall, the left guard, with a false start. Let's again check in with James Brown with a Fox game break.
Hey, Dick, we know about this combination. It's been clicking all season long. Jeff Garcia hooking up with who else? Terrell Owens, second touchdown toss to him of the morning. 60 yards. It is now 14-0 San Fran over New Orleans. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Little pitch and catch going on down in the Bayou.
What a disappointment New Orleans has been down the stretch.
3rd and 9 out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers, 3 lining up to the right for Favre. He unleashes it, and the receiver has beaten the defender Freeman, but he can't hold on. Antonio Freeman had beaten the nickelback Emmanuel McDaniel by a good 6 yards, and now the Packers will have to punt.
Well, Brett Favre does a good job standing in the pocket. You're going to see Jesse Armstead and Dave Thomas come in. Dave Thomas gets there just a second too late.
Well, by Dave Thomas coming, it creates a one-on-one matchup on the outside. Antonio Freeman working against Emmanuel McDaniel. He's got it in his hands, and well, you hate to say it, but those are plays that you got to make. And you know what? Antonio Freeman normally does make those plays.
And you can say it. Go ahead. Josh Bidwell will kick it away, and Tiki Barber to receive the punt inside the 15-yard line, trying to turn the corner, and steps out of bounds at the 22-yard line. And right now, let's check in with Pam Oliver.
All right, Dick, as you know, Mike Sherman discourages scoreboard watching. He considers it a distraction, but the players have a different take. Bernardo Harris told me before the game he absolutely will be watching the scoreboard, checking out the Niners and Bears scores. He said, hey, we're grown men. We can check out other scores and stay focused on what we have to do at the same time. Back to you.
And that's where they put it, Pam, right up there in the upper stands. Last week when the Packers were home, Mike Sherman effectively kept all the scores off.
Yeah, they don't have a choice today. As you can tell right there, they're going to be flashing all day long. Every one of these players is going to be watching that scoreboard.
First down at the 22. Malty don't forget to go on the field. Collins gets it into the hands of Tiki Barber, and Barber slides down at the 27-yard line, a gain of 5. This Green Bay Packer team has not had a losing year in the last 10 ever since Mike Holmgren got on the scene. Their last division title was in '97 when they finished with 13 wins and 3 losses. And it's been Mike Holmgren, Ray Rhodes for a couple of years, but now Mike Sherman, they've never dipped below 500. That's what the Giants are trying to avoid today. 2nd and 5, Ron Dane. Tough to bring down, and is stopped short of the first down by 2 yards thanks to Jim Flanagan.
Well, at the University of Wisconsin, Ron Dane ran behind 2 tight end formations without a lead fullback. And one of the things that he's going to have to get used to is running with Greg Camella in front of him. And it is a little bit different. He doesn't have the amount of room to work. You have to make your cuts a lot quicker off a block that sometimes can happen on your side of the line of scrimmage. And talking to some of the guys, that's one of the things that they would like to see Ron improving.
You know, Ron Dane goes out of the game, and you look at his numbers, very similar to that of Deuce Staley of the Eagles. Staley, of course, was hurt. Dane doesn't get as many reps. 3rd down and 2. And Collins will swing it out to Barber, but he cannot catch it, and the Giants will have to kick it away.
Well, they tried swinging Tiki Barber out wide and let him outflank everybody. Bernardo Harris sees it, and I'm not sure that even if he catches that ball, if he's able to pick up the first down. Bernardo Harris is in great position to make that play.
That might have been one of those fortunate drops for Tiki, because I think Bernardo was going to put a pretty nice lick on him.
Antonio Freeman back to receive the punt from Rodney Williams. Packers in front 14-7 with 1:16 remaining in the first quarter. Williams gets off another good kick, and there is Freeman getting by Dixon this time, but down he goes, and the stop made by Omar Stoutmire. Well, let's take a look back at the Green Bay Packers season as the defense took hold early, powering the Pack to an early 3-0 record, giving up only 13 points. And then Brett Favre, a big game against the Ravens with 3 touchdown passes in week 5. Then Green Bay upset by the Falcons, of all people, at Lambeau, and Leroy Butler was lost for the year. Darren Sharper with a big interception helped seal a season sweep over the Chicago Bears. In an Ahman Green, of course, the Pro Bowl year for the Green Bay Packers, who are trying to win their 3rd in a row today. First down for Brett Favre. Those are his numbers. His TD pass went to Bill Schrader. On the 24-yard line, they spread out the defense, and the crossing pattern to Donald Driver. And Driver cannot get out of bounds, so the clock continues to run. And a gain of 6 with McDaniel on the stop.
Well, what the Packers have done here offensively here in the early part of this game is they've done a nice job of mixing in their personnel packages. They've given a lot of different formations, and they've thrown the quick passing game, which is what they wanted to try to establish. They've also ran the football out of some of those formations. They feel like they've struggled in the running game when they have just gone to a 2-back set.
The Giants have the edge in time of possession. Ahman Green trying to get too close to the sticks and maybe missing by about a yard. Michael Strahan mentioning his name for the first time today. And I remember Strahan told us that he gets as much satisfaction defending against the run as he does getting all those sacks.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you hear defensive players say that, and you wonder if they really mean it. When you talk to Michael Strahan, you talk about the sacks and tackles, he's a guy who you can tell it is important to him to make tackles, and it is just as meaningful to him.
We're going to have a measurement here with 4 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And from the naked eye, it appears as if the Packers may be a bit shy. Packers and the Giants, last time they played was 3 years ago here at Giant Stadium, and the Packers won going away 37-3. So that's how close the Packers are, with 3rd and 1 coming up. And they're going to run the clock, and we will not get another playoff. That is the end of the first quarter here at Giant Stadium. With the score, the Packers 14 and the Giants 7. Bob Stockton, Troy Aikman, Darrell Johnston, and Pam Oliver. And the Packers with a 3rd down and 1 on their 34-yard line, leading 14-7. And the handoff to Ahman Green, and the Giants knock him back. We may have another measurement depending on where they spot the ball. It does not appear as if the Packers got the first down, but we are going to have another measurement. And what better time for us to bring Troy in right now. Moose, no one's talking about Moose coming back to play. I don't know why. He'd be a valuable guy. What about now everyone's talking about Norv Turner. Maybe if he moves somewhere, you may come back. And of course, this is your opportunity to answer that question. Your plans.
Oh, you know, I've never ruled it out, Dick.
Right.
I mean, if I were to go on and play, I don't get to, any longer work with a guy like yourself, which would be a real disappointment, right?
Oh, well, it's for you to say, not me. I know you could play.
Well, I feel like I can physically. I feel like I can. The circumstances didn't, warrant that in Dallas. But, I thought I had an opportunity to potentially go play somewhere this season. It's something that I've just never ruled out. So we'll see what happens here in the offseason.
And you're smart in not ruling it out. The Packers get a first down, and here is Ahman Green off the left side. And he will lose yardage on that play thanks to Brandon Short and Jesse Armstead. So I guess they'll keep coming after. I said, kidded you before the game that maybe 10 years from now, they'll still coming back to you and say, hey, Minnesota needs a quarterback. What do you think?
10 years from now, I don't know that they'll still be doing that.
But all you said is that, you would take a look at anything.
Yeah, and I've been consistent with that throughout the year. And, I love the game of football. I loved playing. I'm still young enough to play. Now, whether or not that leads to me back out there on the playing field is yet to be seen. 2nd and 10
at the 34-yard line. Another shotgun Brett Favre with a couple of pump fakes, gives ground and throws the ball beyond the Packer bench, and Michael Strahan coming in, and Favre said, "Not this time, Mike. You're not going to get the record on that play."
Well, earlier in the week he had talked about, you know, on the first play, I'll just let you come out and get you that sack, and it'll be all over with, and we can just relax and play and have some fun. And here was the opportunity, but you know Brett's not going to give that to him. This Green Bay Packer team does not want to be the team that gives up the sack that breaks the record.
Yeah, that's right. And Brett Favre, as much as he said, yeah, more than likely Michael Strahan is going to get his sack. He's too good of a player to hold him down, you know, for 60 minutes. Brett Favre does not want Michael Strahan getting the record against him.
Hey, the Packers 21 sacks and their club record 26, so they want to set a record there. So I don't think anyone on that line wants to let Strahan get in. Timeout called by the Packers. For our producer Richie Zients over there, you can be sure there'll be no mayonnaise on any of those sandwiches there. Just keep them away from his sandwich.
A couple of Packer fans eating their what are those, brats or are they hot dogs, Dick?
3rd down and 10 at the 34. Dorsey Levens. Bradford going in motion on a designed rollout, going deep for Corey Bradford, and this pass overthrown. So that will bring up 4th down early here in the second.
He's trying to take a shot to Corey Bradford and into double coverage, but that's one of the things that Brett will do at times and give his receivers an opportunity, and a lot of times it works. And we saw when Brett came off the field and called the timeout and the frustration on his face, and that goes back to when we were talking to him last night. He really wants to use this game to get all the kinks worked out with their offense going into the playoffs.
Wobbly kick by Josh Bidwell, and Tiki Barber hemmed in, and down he goes. And you're right, he says just winning may not be enough. I want to go back on the plane and say we're in rhythm now to start the playoffs. I don't know if Nate Wayne coming back, he's had a broken bone in his back, and in the transverse process, sitting this series out. Torrance Marshall, the rookie from Oklahoma, 3rd round choice, in there now. 1st down at the 26. Ron Dayne back in the lineup for the Giants. The handoff up the middle, breaking a tackle, going outside. Ron Dayne putting on the speed and being chased by Tyrone Williams, and Williams knocks him out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. What a run by Dayne, and that was good for 56 yards.
And he won Better's longest run of the year so far at 55, but look it, there's nobody in front of him. That's the strength of Ron Dayne. The other thing is he doesn't go down easy, and this is what I like. I saw Ron play last year. The breakaway speed he has on the outside, he lost the weight, he's a lot quicker, and you can see right there, he just runs through some tackles, never gives up, always got that forward lean. That's a great effort by Ron Dayne.
And they've now given him 61 yards on that run, so it's even better than that. That's a career high for Ron Dayne. And now a timeout called by the Packers. That is their 3rd and final timeout. Remember, one was on a challenge early in the 2nd quarter. Ron Dayne feeling good.
By the tight ends Howard Cross 87 and Dan Campbell number 89 on the kick out, but to have a long touchdown run you got to have some help on the outside, and Ron Dixon a nice block on Mike McKenzie that springs Ron Dayne down the sideline.
That's the longest run by a Giant this year, 61 yards. 1st down on the Packer 13. Dayne staying in the game. Packers out of timeouts. Pressure on Collins, tries to get it to Campbell. And Green Bay coming after him on that 1st down.
Yeah, he had a chance there too. He got everybody moving there on that Packer defensive front, moving with the fake. He came off of that with the boot and had an opportunity, just didn't deliver the football. And you know, we go back to that last run by Ron Dayne, and one of the areas where the Packers have really struggled and why they've given up so much yards the last 3 games is they have not done a real good job of getting off the blocks. Moose pointed out the blocks that the Giants made, but the Packers also were unable to get off of those, and that's been a problem the last 3 weeks.
2nd and 10, play action, and the pass out to Camella, and he is pushed out of bounds at the 9-yard line. And of course Gilbert Brown, who is a burly defensive nose tackle, missing another game, has a turf toe. And Brown, there he is, and according to Mike Sherman yesterday, he says if I played him in this game, he wouldn't be ready next week for the playoffs. So he's opting to wait for the postseason.
Well, and Bernardo Harris talked about him and how important he is to keeping blockers off of the linebacker level. So he does more than just clog up the hole, but he helps everybody on that defensive unit.
3rd down and 5. Hilliard coming in motion. And Collins going out to Camella, who drops it, bringing up 4th down. So the Giants, after that impressive run by Ron Dane, get to the 13-yard line, and then it stops. And the field goal attempt coming up.
Well, nothing more frustrating for an offensive line group that blocks on a long run. You get inside the 20, and then you throw 3 consecutive passes. And Greg Camella, he's got to make that catch and turn that ball upfield to make a 1st down. He's had quite a few drops here in the latter part of the season.
So,
well, probably more of the 3 incomplete passes as opposed to the 3 passes, but they got to convert when they get in the red zone.
Morton Anderson with a 26-yard attempt, and the kick is good, and the Giants climb to within 4. Set up by Ron Dane, the Giant offense stalls, and they settle for 3. Now trail 14-10 on the scoring drive, highlighted by Ron Dane's 61-yard run, his career best and the Giants' best this year. And Morton Anderson, he's had a good year for the Giants with his 26-yarder. Owen Pochman will kick off. He is the long-range kicker for the Giants. This isn't very long, and it's Dorsey Levens at the 11-yard line. On the return, Levens with a good move to the outside, and Levens will wind up with a terrific return near midfield. Dorsey Levens with a 35-yard kickoff return, run out of bounds by Emmanuel McDaniel, and that is a career best for Dorsey Levens.
Oh, what a great job by Dorsey Levens. You can see that play is supposed to be coming to his left. He breaks outside right there, gives Ralph Brown a little juke. He loses contain, and he's able to turn the corner. Good to see Dorsey Levens back healthy at 100% and contributing to this Green Bay Packers football team.
Longest kickoff return of the year by the Packers. That's where the Giants have struggled on the coverage. It's 1st and 10 at the 47. Out of the gun is Favre. Has time, steps up, threads the needle to Antonio Freeman. And Freeman slides down at the 26-yard line. That is vintage Brett Favre with the passing, good for 27 yards and a 1st.
Well, he had Antonio Freeman, and they had it covered pretty good. You got 2 guys running into each other. Sean Williams here is going to take an angle and is unable to wrap him up. He comes in there and just gives him a shoulder, which just frees up Freeman McNeil to get more yards.
And now we got Earl Dodson with his turn going up against Michael Strahan. You see number 65 right there. Mark Tauscher will move inside to take Marco Rivera's spot at right guard.
So the Packers threaten. They're on the Giant 26. Favre has time and overthrows a wide open Ahman Green. Right now for a game break, here's James Brown. JB.
Hey, Dick, no overthrow here. You know, the New Orleans Saints have given up an average of 40 points in their last 3 losses. Here, Garcia hooking up with the fullback, Terry Jackson. It is now 21-0, Dick. That in the first half of play. Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
All right, thank you very much, JB. How about those black uniforms that the Saints are wearing today?
Well,
they ought to wear black today.
It's just good to see that someone other than Terrell Owens scores touchdowns for the 49ers.
A change of pace this time for the Niners. 2nd and 10 from the 26. And the fumble, Brett Favre covering up. So it'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Packers with plenty of time remaining in the 2nd.
They've gotten down in here and having some miscues. The play before this, Brett Favre overthrew a wide open Ahman Green. Here he pulls out a little early and is unable to get the snap from Flanagan. And this is an area of the field where the Packers have been very successful throughout the season.
Favre so used to Frank Winters until this year. Mike Flanagan playing center first time with Favre. 3rd and 11. From the 27. Favre. No one home in the end zone. Freeman was the closest receiver, but that wasn't even close. And 4th down coming up, and the Packers send their field goal team on.
Well, you don't expect to see Brett Favre have some miscues when you get down close to the goal line, and for him to miss Ahman Green wide open in the flat and then pulling out a little bit early on that 2nd play on the exchange. Maybe some of the frustration showing in his focus right there.
This will be a 45-yard attempt by Ryan Longwell. And Longwell, the kick is no good off to the right. Longwell has struggled this year. Nonetheless, he is an alternate, a surprise pick perhaps in the Pro Bowl. So after 40 yards, 6 for 15. Much better inside 40, but Longwell has had his problems this year and again today.
And there's good mechanics, the snap, the hold, everything is in place. Ryan just pushes this one out to the right a little bit, and as you pointed out, that's another area that there's a couple of teams in the NFL that are going into the playoffs that the kicking game is not well. Green Bay being a team, the Pittsburgh Steelers being another team. They have got to shore up some of these places before they get into the playoffs.
So the Giants avoid danger and get the ball back on the 35-yard line, and here is Collins firing into the Giant bench. So the Packers with 2 touchdowns and the Giants 1.
Yeah, they started off fast. Their first 2 possessions, they scored touchdowns. Here's the first one to Schrader. And then they come back with Ahman Green running up in that big hole, 14 points after 2 possessions.
And very impressive by the New York Giants with nothing to play for and an opportunity to really tank it at that point. They come back with a good drive, and Ike Hilliard makes a great catch in the back of the end zone.
So 5 minutes nearly elapsed here in the second quarter. The Giants looking at 2nd down and 10. Tiki Barber on the pitch. And Barber looking for running room and ridden out of bounds by Mike McKenzie. And Barber getting enough close to the first down. And they spotted about a yard shy.
That was a play similar to Ron Dane's long run on the previous drive when the back goes up into the middle and then all of a sudden bounces outside. I think what the Packers are doing, and Bernardo Harris talked about this, this is a very team-oriented defense. They're trying to do too much. They're not staying there and letting the play come to them. They go to make a play, all of a sudden Tiki Barber bounces right into their spot.
Giants getting the running game going, and that's what teams have done against the Packers the last 3 weeks. 3rd down and 1, and here is Tiki Barber, and Barber with a second effort, and it looks like he may have the first down. Nate Wayne and Niall Diggs. So one slowed him up and the other made the stop, and the Giants may have enough for the first down, and they do, and they keep it going with 9 minutes remaining in the second.
Well, Tiki Barber, he just has great quickness, and people have been concerned about his durability and taking the physical pounding over the course of a 16-game schedule, but he's held up very well, and he's running exceptionally hard here this afternoon.
And he's nicked coming into this game, and this time getting a nick on him, Cledius Hunt with a tackle on Ron Dane for no gain. Well, Fox Tuesday nominated for 2 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Drama and Best Actor, Kiefer Sutherland. It's the most talked about show of the season, 24. Don't miss a new episode of 24 Tuesday at 9, 8 Central, right here on Fox. Well, the Giants looking to be the spoiler to the Green Bay Packers. The 49ers winning big, but the Bears still clinging to a 3-0 lead over Jacksonville. So the division race still up in the air in the Central. 2nd down and 10. And here is Collins with time. And Collins flagged down and a catch by Toomer at the 35. But the penalty flag is down on the Green Bay 45-yard line. And it looks like it's against the Packers, so it's going to go. Toomer with a fine catch going up high to make the reception. It would be 20 yards if it is against the Packers, and it appears to be.
Well, and that's the play that they've been looking for Amani Toomer to make more on a consistent basis. He made a heck of a catch right there, going up, knowing he's going to get hit, getting hit by 2 defenders and still being able to haul that pass in.
Johnny Greer.
Illegal contact, 59. Defense is declined. First down.
It's Niall Diggs.
Kerry Collins with some time to throw the football, and Amani Toomer running a square in. Ball's up high. Amani Toomer has to expose himself there. Darren Sharper getting a lick in on him, and then the penalty is against Tiki Barber, and Niall Diggs getting a shot on him, not making sure that Tiki Barber is not going to catch the ball.
You got to dig at Tiki there. First down at the 35. Plenty of time. Here's Juravicius, and the pass is out of bounds, and Juravicius in fact was standing out of bounds, covered by Tyrone Williams.
Well, It looked like he might have been able to make a play. Joe Juravicius there along the sidelines would have been a tough catch, but one that, you know, as a receiver in the National Football League, you're expected to catch. And Joe Juravicius is a guy who they are really happy with the way that he has developed through this season. He was very inconsistent in his route running early in the year, but as the season progressed, especially with injuries to Ike Hilliard, he got more and more confidence and has played well.
Marcellus Rivers in motion to the left, and Ron Dean, who had the 61-yard run to set up the Giant field goal. Packers still leading by 4 points. That was Santana Dotson on the tackle on Dane.
How come the receivers always have to make the catch and the quarterback doesn't have to make a better throw?
Well, that's part of being a quarterback, is that if it's any, you know, they say, hey, if it touches the hand or fingers, hey, you got to haul those in. That's what they told me, Dick.
Well, and you know what? They were right. And Moose never had problems.
Well, Brett feels the same way I do.
There's not a ball that's been thrown that a receiver shouldn't have caught.
Like I said, Moose never had problems holding on to the ball. 3rd down and 7. Giants with 3 receivers in there, and the quick pass trying to get it to Toomer, and it's incomplete. You saw the score in our Fox box that the Bears have opened up a 10-0 lead over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Bears, if they win that game, will complete an incredible 13-3 unexpected year and clinch the NFC Central. Regardless of what the Packers do, Packers will be playing in the wild card game. So a 50-yard field goal attempt, and Morton Anderson will try the 50. Hit one earlier from 26. And the whistle before the kick, and it was a good kick. It would have been good, I think.
Oh, it's against the Giants now.
5 yards. Well, Morton, you would have had it.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 77, offense. Still 4th down.
So it's Luke Pettigrew and the 5-yard penalty, and Morton Anderson is saying, look, 5 yards, I'm going to walk off the field. I couldn't do it again.
Well, he's walking off the field like there's no way I'm going to be able to make this next one.
Now, what about Pochman coming in? And he is coming in. Owen Pochman coming in, and he'll try his hand.
Well, and I think this is where a team that's out of the playoffs does something like this. Normally, I think if you're in contention to get in the playoffs, you're pooch punting this thing and trying to pin this Packer team back.
So this is a 55-yarder, Owen Pochman. And here's Pochman. Boy, strong leg, but too far off to the left. He pushed this one. Tell you, he had the distance.
He definitely had the distance.
Well, that's kind of what the Giants season has been all about. You know, they have an opportunity to kick a 50-yarder, which is on the borderline for Morton Anderson. He makes it, and they have a penalty. And, you know, those are the little things that have gone against the Giants all season long. And you saw the little flinch right there by Luke Pettigrew in the middle of the formation. So
the Giants miss an opportunity because Morton Anderson's attempt would have been good. And the Packers take over on the 45-yard line, leading 14-10. With under 7 minutes remaining in the first half. And a movement in the line, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 flags down on the field. False start.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 76, 88, offense. Still 1st down.
So the 5-yard penalty. Well, the turning point of the season for the Giants could have been week 5 when the Rams beat the Giants by 1, 15-14. Grant Wistrop sealing it with an interception. Donovan McNabb hitting James Thrash with the only touchdown to give the Eagles a 10-9 win the next week when the Giants led 9-0. Then the Giants lost to Washington. Tough loss at Dallas, and things kind of unraveled from there. So the Packers now with 1st and 15 back on their 40. And the handoff to Ahman Green off tackle. Hit. And the initial hit, Cornelius Griffin, really made the play on Green and holds him to 2 yards. So it started out pretty rosy for the Packers today, Troy. And then, of course, a brick wall.
Yeah, they came out and played with the urgency that Brett Favre was hoping that they would show. And did a really nice job. You look there, 4-play drive and a 3-play drive, some big plays for the 2 touchdowns. And since that time, it just seems like they've really gotten into somewhat of a lull. And emotionally, you look at this football team, and they don't show the enthusiasm and the excitement of a playoff team that's looking to get some confidence heading into the playoffs.
And the numbers reflected on Brett Favre since that first drive. 2nd and 13, the screen to Amon Green, and Green drives his way, and it looks like he'll get the first down. Very close on the Giant 45-yard line. So the screen to Amon Green connects, and Mike Barrow making the tackle.
He just appears to be one of those guys that you would think would be like a scat back. But as you saw right there, the way Amon Green finishes his runs, he is a very physical running back coming out of the backfield in the passing game or running. And it's no wonder that he's leading the league right now in yards after first contact. Very rarely does he go down with that first hit.
Yeah, and one of the things that they wanted to do is with Michael Strahan, they run the screens very well because they got a very athletic offensive line. They want to give him a lot of different looks so he just can't pin his ears back and rush after Brett Favre and leave Earl Dotson, who's at right tackle right now, out on an island against him.
And the Packers may be called for another false start penalty, and they will be. As you mentioned, Moose, Amon Green needing 139 total yards to go over the 2,000 mark.
Right to the snap, false start, number 76, offense. Still first down.
That's Chad Clifton. There's the penalty story. So 66 total yards for Green. No one in the Packer history, 81 seasons, have ever had 2,000 total yards in a campaign.
Well, he's had a heck of a season. There's no question about that. And a lot of the success of this Packer team and this offense has been based on the success of Amon Green and what he's been able to do.
First down and 15. Fake handoff. Favre running to his left and drilling it up the middle. And the receiver, Bubba Franks, falls down on his own accord. He was covered by Dave Thomas.
One of the things that people talked about with Brett Favre was the fact that he was a one-dimensional quarterback that moved to his right when they did their play action and their move game. But this year, one of the things that he and quarterback coach Tom Rosley worked on, offensive coordinator Tom Rosley, was moving to the left. And it's something that Brett has found that he enjoys quite a bit. Now, most of the move plays are called to his left, which is unusual for a right-handed quarterback.
That's very unusual. In fact, in Dallas, we never ran any boots to the left because it's so hard for a right-handed quarterback going to his left to get his shoulders turned and throw accurately.
Second down and 15. Big pressure. And the pass is incomplete, intended for Schrader on a crossing pattern. And it was Mike Barrow on the play, and it was Cornelius Griffin leading the way, and the Giants sending several of their defenders in on Brett Favre.
Michael Barrow, to me, a guy that kind of got overlooked in the Pro Bowl voting, the team that was announced this week. He's had a tremendous season, and you know, Michael Strahan obviously has gotten the most attention on this defensive unit, but he will tell you that right behind him, Michael Barrow has just had an outstanding season.
Third down and 15. The ball in midfield. And there's the pass up the middle. Could have been dangerous. Jesse Armstead was the closest to that pass intended for Dorsey Levens. The Packers, by the way, changes in the offensive line with Marco Rivera out. Mark Tosher moved to guard and Earl Dotson to right tackle. And it's something that they had planned to do in any event today. Fourth down, and Josh Bidwell coming in to kick for the third time. That's Tiki Barber back on the 10-yard line. 4:46 remaining in the first half, and a good high kick by Bidwell, and they're going to let this one bounce, and the Packers see it roll into the end zone. It's a touchback, and the Giants will get the ball on the 20, trailing by 4. Well, the Rams, the Bears, and the Eagles all have clinched playoff berths and are division leaders. The Packers, the 49ers, and the Buccaneers also heading for postseason. And we already know that the Eagles and Tampa Bay will play in a wild card next weekend. The question is, will the Bears hold on to their division lead? They're winning today. And if the Packers win, they will host the 49ers next week in the wild card game. Bears leading the Jaguars 10-0. 49ers over the Saints 21-0. From the 20-yard line, Ron Dane on the handoff, and he gets maybe a yard.
Green Bay has done a good job between the tackles. The Giants have hurt him when the play has gone up inside, and then the backs have bounced. One time Ron Dane with a very long run, but also Tiki Barber. And I think that that's what, you know, they have that little bob play that all the offenses carry, where the play starts into the middle and then bounces outside. Obviously, it's a play that Green Bay has struggled with. You would like to see them get back to that more often.
2nd and 9. The ball at the 21. Collins on the screen to Greg Camella. And Camella dragged down short of the first down by a yard by Cledius Hunt. A pickup of 8.
You know, I don't know that I've seen so many screens run in a year as what I have this season by all the various teams in the league right now offensively. And the Giants do a great job throwing the screen here. They throw it to Greg Camella, who normally Tiki Barber is the guy who's out there, the recipient of that pass. But the Packers, as we've seen, they run the screen with great effectiveness in the Philadelphia Eagles. But there's a lot of teams that are using the screen, and it's not as easy a play to run as what you might expect because of the timing involved with the linemen.
Here is Tiki Barber getting the first down and stays in bounds. Tackled by McKenzie. And why is the screen pass not that easy? It looks to the fan like it's just a dump off.
Well, and you're right that so many fans, they fail to recognize the nuances of throwing the screen pass. You're getting linemen out, usually 2 to 3 linemen out as lead blockers. You've got to show pass, try to suck the defensive lineman up, and then have the timing with the back and the blocker, and so that everything is in sync and that the running back is not getting too far out ahead of his lineman.
Giants gaining most of their yards off the right, and that was the 61-yard run by Dane. New York with a first down on their 44 with Dane in the game. This is play action. No one downfield, and the pass is thrown away. Smart play by Collins, avoiding a force, a sack, because the Packers had it covered.
Well, there's nothing more frustrating for a quarterback when you have time to throw the football and there's nowhere to throw it. You watch Ron Dixon here. He's trying to get to the corner. Mike McKenzie's covering him. Nowhere to go with the ball on him. And everybody else on the field, Dan Campbell was covered up and Ike Hilliard, and there was nowhere to go. And the only thing that Collins could do was throw it out of bounds.
2nd and 10 with 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Collins swings it out to Barber in stride, and Barber will fumble it out of bounds. Giants keep possession at the 47-yard line, a pickup of 3 yards with Bernardo Harris, who we talked with yesterday when the pack came in.
Well, that was a play that they ran earlier in the first quarter, and the one that Tiki dropped, and this one he makes the catch. But like we had said then, Bernardo Harris doing a nice job running sideline to sideline. That's not an easy task for a guy his size to keep up with a running back with the speed of Tiki Barber, yet he's been able to do that.
And Bernardo Harris, former Tar Heel from the University of North Carolina. 2-minute warning here at Giants Stadium, with the Packers leading the New Yorkers 14-10. The Visa halftime report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker will keep you updated with up to the second stats. We can give you updated on the Michael Strahan's bid to get that 1 sack to set an NFL record, and so far he has come up empty. He had one little chase on Brett Favre, who threw the ball away, and Favre and Strahan had a nice meeting in midfield after that.
Well, a lot of this goes with you know, Brett Favre too. He's pretty savvy. He's not going to stand back there and hold the ball all day. He's known for getting the ball out quick and in difficult situations.
2 minutes remaining in the first half. 3rd down and 7 for the Giants. Collins getting protection, and his pass to Barber does not get there. Barber is tackled 2.5 yards short of the first down by Todd McBride, and so a good open field tackle, bringing up 4th down just in Green Bay territory. And the crowd saying, hey, you're 7 and 8, you're out of it, go for it. But Rodney Williams starts to come on the field. Jim Fossil will look to presumably punt. Timeout. Now will kick it away. Rodney Williams with 1:12 remaining in the first half. And Williams with a kick, trying to keep it inside the 20, and the fair catch called for by Darren Sharper. And the Packers will go on offense. So Mark Gastineau, a colorful, outstanding player for the New York Jets when he played. And let's go back to 1984 when Gastineau set the record with 22 sacks. He earned MVP honors in that year's Pro Bowl. It was the sack exchange, and the 2nd straight year that he led the league in that department. He played in the NFL from 1979 to 1988, all with the New York Jets. And Mark Gastineau with a half a sack lead over Michael Strahan in his last game of the regular season. Packers with a 1st and 10 on the 15-yard line. They have no timeouts remaining. Inside handoff on Green, and Green gets about 8 on 1st down with Strahan making the stop.
We talked about Mike.
2nd down and 1 as the Packers hurry it up. Favre chased by Holmes, and this pass knocked away, going for Green, and it was Jesse Armstead getting a piece of it.
Well, the Packers here trying to get in a position to where they can get some points here before the half, trying to do it also without any timeouts. Now facing a 3rd and short. But how many times have we seen Brett Favre in this situation, whether it's before half or at the end of a ball game when his team needs points, and he's come through and been able to get it done?
It's going to be tougher with no timeouts left. 8 times in all. He relishes these moments. And the Packers stalled a bit after taking that 14-0 lead. 3rd down and 1, and the quick toss caught for the 1st down by Corey Bradford. And Bradford running into Giant territory. And he does a little sidestep before he is down at the 31-yard line. Jesse Armstead missed the tackle downfield, and the Packers hurry up. That's a 45-yard gain. No timeout, remember. And the clock running, 17 seconds. And Favre will throw it to Schrader. He did not spike the ball, completed it to Schrader, who got out of bounds and stops the clock with 10 seconds.
What a heady play by Bill Schrader to stretch right at the end of that right there, because if he doesn't get that clock to stop, they're not going to get another play off.
No, he was extremely fortunate, and normally Brett was signaling that they were going to clock the ball. He takes a chance and tries throwing it out to Bill Schrader to catch him off guard. Will Peterson was ready. And a nice job of getting the ball out of bounds, as you mentioned. Here's the previous play that they get the ball to Corey Bradford, and just a short pass to get the 1st down, and he's able to cut across the grain and pick up huge yardage.
2nd down and 5 on the 26th with time running out. Here is Favre with a one-hopper intended for Antonio Freeman, and 5 seconds to go. The field goal team enters.
Well, we talked about earlier the fact that the Packers don't want to be the team that allows Michael Strahan to get the sack. And right now he's moved over to the Packers' left side going against Chad Clifton. Right there, Mike Wall coming out to give him some help. If one of these guys does not have a blocking responsibility, he's going to go find where number 92 is.
Well, the Pack will try to stretch their lead to 7. A 44-yard attempt by Ryan Longwell, who missed one from 45 yards out earlier. And there is the kick by Longwell, and this one is good. Ryan Longwell, and that's got to be a boost to his confidence as he connects on a 44-yarder to give the Packers a 17-10 lead at halftime.
Jim Fossil right there, probably not too happy about that clock stopping. But we'll go back and take a look again. Good mechanics, and you really said a mouthful right there, Dick. This has got to be good for the Packers kicking game right there, because as you pointed out, only 6 of 15 from over 40 yards. And Ryan Longwell, he's got to have some confidence going into the playoffs.
But the big play was the pass to Corey Bradford for 45 yards that put the Packers in good position. They lead 17-10 over the Giants. We will be back here at Giant Stadium after these commercial messages. By Strahan. There have been 5 scoring drives in this game. 4 have been inside 2 minutes and 15 seconds, which is unusual as the Giants kick off to start the 3rd quarter. Owen Pochman, and it's a short kick. Dorsey Levens on the return. Levens has had a terrific game as a kick returner and still does. Pochman, the only man for him to beat, rides him out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Dorsey Levens, a star as a kick returner. That was 53 yards.
Well, on the previous one, he made a nice move to the outside away from where the kick was designed to go. This time it's just a middle return. He picks the spot and hits it. Jack Golden has a chance to make the tackle there. He can't do it. And Dorsey Levens with some tough running puts the Packers in great field position. And this is very important because this is one of those areas that Mike Sherman was concerned about, and his kickoff return team has done a great job this afternoon.
Levin's first kickoff return was 35. He turned the numbers around, 53. And the Packers in business on the Giant 31. Amon Green on tackle, and Green getting to the 25-yard line, a pickup of 6 as we check in with Pam Oliver.
All right, Dick, Mike Sherman with some interesting things to say about his football team. He says we've got to run the ball better. We've had a couple of drops defensively. We've got to tackle better. He says we're playing like a very young football team, and we've got to settle down. As for the Giants, Jim Fossil says he was pleased the way his team fought back there in the first half. He said in the second half we've got 30 more minutes to show what kind of football team we are. Back to you.
All right, Pam. And the first 45 seconds of this quarter, the Packers with the first down. Corey Bradford tackled by Dave Thomas, and Green Bay moving smartly. That was a 12-yard gain.
Yeah, and Dave Thomas, you know, he hasn't played all that much here this season, but he was given tremendous cushion there to Corey Bradford and playing very soft, and just gave up a very easy completion for the first down.
Bears in front 20-0 over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're trying to get their second straight shutout after blanking the Lions 24-0 last week and wrapping up the NFC Central Division crown. They're well on their way. First down on the 13. Here is Green again off the left side, and Amon Green picking up about 7 yards on that first down play.
Nice job by Chad Clifton sealing the outside against Kenny Holmes, allowing Amon Green to get outside. You see him right there. And what a collision at the end of this run here. Sean Williams and Amon Green. And that, I tell you what, this guy finishes a run better than anybody I've seen this year in the NFL. Sean Williams is a big physical safety, and he's not 100% right now. You can see him trying to shake the cobwebs out.
Williams stays in the game, but he is hobbling. Second down and 4 on the 7-yard line. And here is Green. They go to the ground game, and Green gets inside and gets to the 1. It'll be first and goal as Mike Barrow prevents the touchdown, but the Packers, thanks to Dorsey Levin's 53-yard kickoff return to start the second half, have first and goal at the Giant 1.
Well, that left side of the offensive line right there with Flanagan and Mike Wall and Chad Clifton, they're just pushing back this defensive front of the New York Giants, and Amon Green showing some patience and showing some tough running up inside there to pick up some key yards.
And Barry Stokes coming in as a tight end, and the handoff to Green, touchdown for the Packers. So Amon Green doing most of the work after Levin set it up. His second touchdown of the game. Green, who scored earlier on a 25-yard run, and this from a yard out.
Boy, they made that look entirely too easy. The guys up front just did a great job. This is just straight ahead, smash mouth football, double on the nose, lead by William Henderson, the fullback, and Amon Green is able to just walk right in.
So Amon Green now with 75 yards on 13 carries. Ryan Longwell adds the extra point, and the Packers have a 24-10 lead. So they've regained that 2-touchdown lead they had early in the game. So the Packers now putting the Giants in the rearview mirror to the tune of 24-10. 5 plays, 31 yards. Amon Green with his second touchdown of the game, 9th of the season as a runner. And Dorsey Levens, who has now averaged 39 yards a kick return in 3 tries, and his 53-yarder set it up. So the Giants' special teams coverage woes follow them into the last game of the year. Ryan Longwell with a line drive kick. Jonathan Carter returning for the Giants, and Carter with a couple of nifty moves as a flag comes down from upfield. Corey Bradford making the tackle. So the Giants now with another hill to climb, and this will go against them as well. Gary Collins going to work.
Holding number 57 doing the return of the receiving team. First down.
Clayton White Dorsey Levens, unexpectedly, not in the backfield as much, but this.
Well, really impressed by what he has done because he was the featured back in this offense, and Amon Green came over to the Green Bay Packers and has just done a tremendous job. And Dorsey has not taken that personal. He hasn't complained. When he gets an opportunity to make a play, he has made the best of those opportunities. And you have to have a guy like that on your football team to be successful.
So the Giants trailing by 2 touchdowns begin from the 17, and Tiki Barber begins by going around Bernardo Harris and getting more than a first down before Darren Sharper rides him out of bounds, picking up 16 in the process.
Well, one of the things that the New York Giants like to do in their running games, they like the counters and the misdirections. Glenn Parker, your left guard right there, he's going to pull out. You see him leading on the block there on Nate Wayne, which allows Tiki Barber to get outside. And then Juravicius on the outside also blocking. You heard Moose earlier in the game talk about you don't get those kinds of yards in the running game if your receivers are not getting down the field and blocking. Juravicius gets the block on McKenzie, which allows Tiki Barber to get more yards.
From the 33, Campbell the move man. Collins in and out of the hands of Amani Toomer. So he's made a couple of terrific catches today, but that goes on the negative side.
Well, it goes on the negative side, and they're trying to figure out exactly where Amani Toomer is going to fit within this offense. He has another opportunity here to make a play, and when the ball's hitting you in the hands, and not a difficult catch, you have to be able to make those plays, especially if you're going to be the featured receiver on a football team. You've got to be a guy that the football team can depend on, that your quarterback can depend on. And right now, I don't know that Kerry Collins is having that much confidence in Amani Toomer.
Second down and 10. Collins with a swing pass out to Dane. Dane gets hit by Mike McKenzie, and a loss of 2 on the play, and flag down on the far side. Nate Wayne coming back from injury after missing 3 games, slow getting up.
Yeah, you can tell that back is bothering him some right there, the way that he's walking. That's coming from a guy myself who's had a lot of back problems over the years, and I'm actually surprised to see him still out there in the game.
There's no infraction for pushing it back. The action occurred after the play was over.
So they pick up the flag. Of course, it hasn't affected your golf game too much, as I've seen.
No, I work around it, yeah.
Well, the bad thing for Nate Wayne with that injury, there's really nothing they can do. He's just going to have to find a way to play with the pain. It's a very strange injury, that fracture of the transverse process in your back, and you know they can do some stuff for you after the game to make it feel better for the next week. But he's going to be playing in pain the rest of the afternoon and throughout the playoffs.
And the numbers dead even at 254. Keith Thibodeau in as an extra back with 4 receivers. Pressure put on Kerry Collins, and it's tipped. A fine play made by number 27, Todd McBride. Joe Juravicius was off, and if McBride not gotten a piece of that, the Giants would have had a big gainer.
Well, they were in man-to-man coverage right there, so everybody's singled up. That's what you want to see as a quarterback, and then your guy just has to win. Right there, Amani Toomer has a little bit of a chance. It would have taken a perfect throw. Kerry trying to get it over the top, and then Tyrone Williams making a play.
So the Giants have to kick. Rodney Williams gets off a beauty. Antonio Freeman on the 15-yard line goes down. He went laterally, and down he went at the 18-yard line. Dahani Jones making the play. That was a 52-yard play. Sean Williams going off. Giants with Sean Williams out with a sprained knee. You saw him taken out. Omar Stoudemire replaces him. Lance Legree has been in there for Keith Hamilton, who went out with a sprained knee earlier in the game. First down at the 19 for the Packers, who lead 24-10. Amon Green crosses the 20-yard line on first down. So you saw Sean Williams going off, and the Giants with some more defensive injuries. Hamilton earlier in the game, and then Sean Williams. Both have had good seasons for the Giants.
Well, Keith Hamilton, he had a breakout season last year, and unfortunately he has not been able to stay healthy all year. And there you see Omar Stoudemire coming in to take the place of Sean Williams. But you know, one of the things about this defense and the struggles they've had, they have not had a healthy Keith Hamilton all season.
Don't forget Jason Sehorn out with an ankle injury. Levens in motion, and Dorsey Levens on the catch, breaks a defender, went past Dave Thomas. First down for the Green Bay Packers to their 35-yard line. Mike Barrow after a pickup of 14.
Yeah, and again, that's Dave Thomas out there just providing enough room for them to be able to make a play. Dorsey Levens putting a little bit of a move on him, and Dave Thomas not being able to break down and make the tackle when he came up to make the play.
Amon Green, the leading rusher in the NFC, has 77 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Packers first down on their 35. 9:20 to go in the third. Pass to Schrader. He's got it. Now he's going. Goes out of bounds after picking up the first down. Well, coming soon, it's the second year of racing on Fox. Catch truck and have for many years. First down at the 46. Here is Favre off the back foot. And this pass down the line, and a flag goes. Dave Thomas defending against Bill Schrader, and the pass interference call will go against Thomas.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, Dick. I was up here watching it the whole way, and to me it looked like Bill Schrader was all over Dave Thomas. Dave Thomas has a right to make a play on that ball.
Pass interference. Number 41, defense. First down.
Here's a look at it at the top. Schrader working against Dave Thomas. Dave just running up the field. Got his head back looking for the ball. He's playing it. That was textbook coverage by a corner, and there was nothing there. If anything, that was offensive pass interference. Dave Thomas did nothing wrong on that play.
That was the worst call I've seen on a pass interference all year. 25-yard penalty. Packers on the Giant 29, and the give is to Amon Green inside the 25-yard line, and Jim Fossil would have to agree with us.
Well, it was right on his sideline. He had as good a look as anybody at the play and what the call was, and you can see he completely, and rightfully so, disagrees with the call. Just a bad call. And if you look at what happened on the kickoff return that got the Packers down here in this situation, their first drive and scored, and now a pass interference call against Dave Thomas again gets them in Giant territory.
Second down and 6. 4 wide receivers, 2 on each side, and Favre's pass and in and out of the hands of Donald Driver. And that will bring up third down for the Packers. And the crowd, knowing that the Giants not playing for anything playoff wise, still upset with that call.
Well, and I don't blame him. Dave Thomas, as I've talked about, he's been playing pretty soft out there, giving up the underneath routes and the underneath throws, and then the one time that they actually try to take a shot at him, because in talking with Green Bay yesterday and Brett Favre, they wanted to take a shot at Dave Thomas. They felt that they could get something on him, but Dave Thomas was ready and just did a really nice job. Here's Dave Thomas right here at the top.
Third down and 6. Favre goes the other way, and the pass dropped by Antonio Freeman, bringing up fourth down. And so Michael Strahan still looking for that 1 sack in the record.
Well, I just don't I don't agree with Terry Bradshaw. I don't think anybody on this Packer team wants him to get that sack. They're going to fight him on every play. It's just a matter of pride. You don't want it to happen against your ball club, especially your unit.
43-yard attempt coming up for Ryan Longwell, who missed one from 45 and connected from 44. And here is Longwell's kick. He's got a lot of foot in it. Good. Ryan Longwell with his second field goal in 3 tries. And the Packers have raised their lead to 27-10 as Favre and Strahan meet again. Still 0 for Michael. Still seething over that pass interference call.
Well, he is, and rightfully so. And don't tell Jim Fossil that this game is not important or meaningless to the New York Giants. You get out there and you're playing for respect and you're playing for pride.
Here is Longwell's kick. And Carter on the 10 returning for the Giants. Jonathan Carter brings it out to the 35 where Todd McBride making the tackle. What did you do during the commercial break? Here's Jim Fossil.
Yeah, he was working this official the entire time that we were at commercial break. He was working this official about that call, and he is blatantly upset. And like I said, this game is meaningful to this football team and Jim Fossil.
And the frustration of the long season finally erupting. That side judge, by the way, Dean Look, who's a former quarterback in his college days at Michigan State. Giants from the 35. Barber going out wide to the top of your screen. Ron Dane is the setback. And Ron Dixon going in motion. Terry Collins unleashes it, and the pass is caught by Dixon at the Packer 45-yard line. Bows you after the 20-yard pickup.
You know, there's a lot of guys that the Giants want to take a look at today, and Ron Dixon is one of those guys. And he had an appendectomy back in June, which kept him from really getting the work in the offseason coming into this year. But the expectations for him were very high, and they're trying to get him to learn the sense of urgency and how important each and every play is. And he's been very inconsistent, disappointment to the club, and he's been disappointed in his own performance.
Here's Dane for a couple of yards. In fact, Dixon in Jim Fossil's doghouse after his problems on kickoff returns as Chicago opens up 23-6 lead over Jacksonville. We were talking to Jim Fossil yesterday in his office, looked around for that doghouse and didn't really see the edifice.
We never did find the proverbial doghouse, but yeah,
if we did, Ron Dixon would have been in it.
His head would have been in it somehow. But he's an up and down guy. One time he shows you a great play like that and some brilliance, and then on the very next play he'll do something really silly and just not being smart.
2nd and 7. And the pass caught inside the 30 by Toomer, and a first down for the Giants. And for a milestone, Emmitt Smith and James Brown will tell it to us on the Fox Game Break. JB.
Hey, Dick, how many times have Troy and Darryl seen this? Emmitt Smith here with this 13-yard run gets his 11th consecutive 1,000-yard season and NFL record, surpassing the 10 set by Barry Sanders. Troy has seen it a lot, and Darryl has made it happen quite a bit. Back to you guys.
Yeah, congratulations to Emmitt Smith, a guy who missed several games in the midpoint of the season, and I'm sure he felt that that goal might be in jeopardy, but a great week last week against San Francisco, and he's able to finish it up this weekend against Detroit.
Rivers in motion, first down at the 28, and the ball tipped into the hands of Bonnie Holiday, and the Packers get it back, and did he fumble? And if he did, the Giants get it back, and now they're signaling that Holiday was down by contact at the 46-yard line. So the Packers will get it back.
Down by contact. First down, Green Bay.
So Green Bay gets it back. Billy Lyon forced the fumble, and Bonnie Holiday wound up with it in his hands.
Well, this is something that Kerry Collins has had problems with hanging the football here. Nothing he can really do about it. Billy Lyons knocks his arm as he's starting to throw. Bonnie Holiday then in a position to catch the deflection and get the interception.
It is an interception by Bonnie Holiday, and a challenge is coming up. Johnny Greer, well, once it's down by contact, I don't believe he can challenge it. So Johnny Greer talking to Jim Fossil. That's the rule. Down by contact, can't challenge.
New York has challenged the ruling on the field that the runner was down by contact.
It's a way to circumvent the rule, I guess.
So the Green Bay Packers, Bonnie Holiday getting the ball back from the Giants, who are challenging this.
Well, again, Billy Lyons there, and Lomas Brown just using very poor technique and poor feet to allow Billy Lyon to get in there. Now the call that they're questioning is whether or not he was down by contact or not when the ball came out.
I didn't think you could challenge down by contact.
Unless you challenge whether he was down by contact.
If I'm not going to stand firm now, when will I? Packers with the ball, however, on their 47. Ahman Green tackled from behind. Loss of 1. That was Jesse Armstead making the play.
There's Jesse Armstead chasing it from behind, making the play. And Jesse made the Pro Bowl this year, and some people have questioned that. But here's a guy who has been playing most of this season injured and has come each and every week ready to play, has given it everything that he's got. And I think those players that he's competed against around the league have respected the way that he's come out and battled each Sunday.
And they must have. They voted him to the Pro Bowl team. You're right. 2nd down and 11. Brett Favre up the middle and off the hands, incomplete, intended for Donald Driver. The Packers led 14-0 in the first quarter, scoring on their first 2 possessions. The Giants cut it to 14-10. And then Ryan Longwell with a 44-yard field goal as time ran out in the first half, and it's been all Green Bay since then, 27-10. In the game that was scheduled to be played in the second week of the season, and now played in the 17th week, and the Packers had looked at the giant tape from the Denver Broncos opening loss. 3rd and 11. Strahan still looking for that sack to give him the record, and here is Favre completes the pass to Corey Bradford. Touchdown Packers. Brett Favre with his second touchdown pass of the game, and the Packers open up 33-10.
Well, they single up Corey Bradford with Dave Thomas. You're going to see Brett Favre. He knows that he's got one-on-one. He gets it up, and Corey Bradford just runs right by Dave Thomas. Dave Thomas did not give the cushion there that he had been earlier in the game. And last week it was Will Allen who got beat on some deep throws. This week it's Dave Thomas, his replacement.
54-yard strike, and the Packers looking to open up a 24-point lead, and Ryan Longwell's extra point is good with 4:35 remaining. The Packers on their way to nailing down a home wild card game next week at Lambeau, 34-10 over the Giants. Cheeseheads, but I've never seen reindeer eating cheese.
Well, it might be a moose eating cheese.
Moose,
huh?
that's right.
It looks a little bit small to be a moose. It's not a hat you want to be wearing up in Green Bay
since you quit playing.
Well, yeah, I could be down to that status by now.
Look at those eyes. Look at Corey Bradford's eyes after the 54-yard touchdown catch, as the Packers have scored 2 touchdowns off of turnovers. Jonathan Carter returning for the Giants, and he is wrestled down and taken down. 24-yard line and forward progress, but it was Bradford beating Thomas for Brett Favre's 32nd touchdown toss of the season. Never lost a postseason game at Lambeau Field, 10-0. Would be at home next week against the 49ers. Giants with a 1st and 10 on their 24-yard line, and here is Kerry Collins, and Amani Toomer makes the grab, and now they say did not have control, covered by Tyrone Williams, so it's incomplete, and Toomer shaken up.
Well, we've talked a lot about the help that the tackles have gotten going against Michael Strahan, but Mark Taucher and Chad Clifton on that last series, both in one-on-one situations, using great technique to keep Michael Strahan away from Brett Favre. And that's one of the things you have to do. He's got the speed to get around the corner. He's got the power to drive you back to the quarterback, and he will exploit any poor technique you use.
And Michael Strahan, who said coming into this game needed to be calmed down, as there's Toomer coming off the field. Respect for history, and badly wants this record.
Well, here's the hit on Amani Toomer, and you got Tyrone Williams coming in there and putting a hit on him, and
Niall Diggs getting him from the front side.
Niall Diggs on the front side sandwiched him there. Not exactly sure, what happened. They rushed. The Packers rushed 3 guys there, so they had a lot of people dropping off into coverage, 8 guys, and it's a tight fit, and Kerry Collins was able to get in there. Nice catch by Amani Toomer.
Jonathan Carter is split out to the left on 2nd and 10, and the pass underneath to Joe Juravicius, caught at the 30. Right now for a game break, here's James Brown, his name is.
Hey, Dick, take a look at Jeff Garcia tossing his 32nd TD pass, a career high, that one to J.J. Stokes, and it's looking more and more like it will be San Francisco at Green Bay in the first round of the playoffs. Back to Dick, Troy, and Darryl.
Yes, it does, JB. Ike Hilliard on the receiving end for a 1st down for the Giants.
You look at the San Francisco 49ers, what they're doing today to New Orleans, and then you think back to the loss that they had to the Dallas Cowboys, and what a big loss that was, and otherwise the Packers would be traveling to San Francisco for the wild card game.
That makes a huge difference considering the weather. There's a pass up the middle. Juravicius looked like he attempted a one-hander. Darren Sharper was in the neighborhood along with Todd McBride.
You might as well throw 2 hands up there to try and make this catch, because Darren Sharper is going to hit you regardless of whether you catch the ball or not. So put 2 hands up there and try and bring that one in, Joe.
It looked like Todd McBride had a little bit of a grip on his arm, but I think that Juravicius got to fight through that. And as you said, Moose, he's got to be able to get that other hand up. He is going to take the lick, but he's got to fight through that.
2nd and 10 at 37-yard line. Like Kerry Collins, a former Penn Stater, is Juravicius. And the handoff to Tiki Barber gets very little. Santana Dotson in on the play. The Giants would like to finish with 3 out of 4 wins, and the heartbreaking loss against the Eagles last week and the great comebacks against the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Try to finish 3 out of 4 and go 8-8 and not finish with a dud, and that's the way this is headed. 3rd down and 9 as Collins completes to Ron Dixon, and written down by Darren Sharper into Packer territory, and that pass play good for 20 yards.
Well, that's a ball. There's not a lot of air right there for Kerry Collins to fit that one in, but they're dropping a lot of people. They're playing more of a prevent style of defense, and Ron Dixon again showing some of the things that he's capable of doing. Now the Giants are going to a no-huddle offense, trying to get back into this game.
It helped them against the Seahawks when they needed it. Here is Barber out of the backfield, and Barber gets a few extra yards. Santana Dotson making the tackle. Niall Diggs had missed Barber initially. So the Giants on the 35-yard line of the Packers. Final 2 minutes of this 3rd quarter. 2nd and 3 coming up. Collins, 1 interception was a deflection at the line and picked off by Vonnie Holiday. And the Pack capitalized. Out of the shotgun, fumble. Kerry Collins fumbling for the 20th time. The record is Tony Banks, not with the present team, the Redskins, but with the St. Louis Rams. And they tell me that that is the 2nd fumble, so it does tie the record of Tony Banks, established in 1996 with the Rams.
Well, that's one of the areas that Jim Fossil talked to us about yesterday, and getting more consistent play from Kerry Collins. And you can't be careless with the football in this league and be effective and win football games.
3rd down and 1. Interception. Bowes picks it off. And so you talk about Kerry's problems with holding onto the ball. Another one would be there on the decision making like that.
Well, it was careless with the throw there, and you know, Kerry throwing that one on his back foot and not really stepping up in the pocket to be able to deliver it accurately. But that has been really the storyline of this football team. Not so much Kerry Collins and some of the struggles that he's had in the inconsistent play, but just when they start to get something going, invariably something negative happens.
Bowes with his 2nd interception of the year, and many in this crowd has seen enough. Giants trailing the Packers 34-10. Green Bay with the 3rd turnover on the part of the Giants. Get it back on the 23. They hand off to Ahman Green, and coming up was Jesse Armstead to make the tackle, and a loss of 3 yards. Waning moments of the 3rd quarter. The Packers looking for their 12th victory of the season. They've only managed to win 12 games in a season 6 times in their storied history. And they're going to the playoffs and looking to finish 5-3 on the road. 2nd and 13 with under a minute to play in the 3rd quarter. Fake pass, handoff to Green. And Green gets a couple. Guards on the bottom of the pile. And that may be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Packers looking up at the scoreboard, seeing that the 49ers winning big. In no danger of this game, and the Chicago Bears leading 26-6 now over Jacksonville and headed for the division title. Remember, the Packers had hoped to wind up in a tie with the Bears for first in the division. They would win on the tiebreaker, having beaten Chicago twice. But that will be the end of the 3rd quarter here at Giants Stadium with the score: the Packers 34 and the Giants 10. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station. 4-10 the score. No, that's not Ron Dane sitting in the stands wearing the Giant road uniform, just trying to stay warm. But a hearty fan. I'll tell you, this is as Mike Sherman said, generational rivals. 3rd down and 11 on the 22 for Brett Favre, and his pass and incomplete, and it was intended for Corey Bradford. Omar Stoudemire on the tough defensive play. Well, here we are. The Packers are well on the way, and it looks like everything seems to be going according to form. Bears winning the division. Packers home against San Francisco next week.
Yeah, and Troy brought up the point that the San Francisco lost to Dallas last week. Boy, that plays into the hands of the Green Bay Packers, because amazing, they are undefeated in the playoffs up in Lambeau.
And you can talk about home field advantage and what it means to teams, and it's important to everybody, but the Green Bay Packers, it's extremely important to.
Here's Josh Bidwell with the punt on 4th down, and retrieved by Tiki Barber, and down he goes at the 43-yard line. Keith Thibodeau. Well, the last time the 49ers played the Green Bay Packers in the play. There's the Packer 10-0 record at Lambeau Field, looms large. 1st and 10. Kerry Collins going to Tiki Barber, and he makes the reception. It's a catch out of bounds, knocked out by Niall Diggs, and a pickup of 25 yards to the 29 of Green Bay.
Well, and that's such a mismatch when you've got Tiki Barber working against a linebacker, Niall Diggs, and that's a matchup that the New York Giants will take each and every play if they could get it. Tiki Barber is not just the runner with great quickness and vision. He can also get split out and run some great routes, some wide receiver routes, which is unusual. You see guys like Marshall Faulk and guys like that can do it. Tiki also is in that category.
And their pass to Ron Dixon, and he is wrestled down, but picking up 9 yards on the play. Amani Toomer is out of the game right now, so the Giants are using Jonathan Carter and Ron Dixon, and they are using Tiki Barber split.
Well, they're trying to get as much of a look at these guys as what they can. You know, you talk about Ron Dixon and the others, and that's what this game is being used for. They want to win, but at the same time, they want to evaluate these players going into the offseason.
And the diving catch made by Juravicius, and a 1st down for the Giants on the 20-yard line. Early here in the 4th quarter, the Packers lead the Giants 34-10. New England 31-6 leaders over Carolina. What a job Bill Belichick has done with those Patriots in the AFC East. Pass underneath to Juravicius, and he gets close to the 10-yard line and very near a 1st down, and a little shoving going on. Todd McBride. Giants again lining up without the huddle. It'll be 2nd down and less than 1. And here's Collins going for Carter, and off his hands, out of bounds, covered by McKenzie.
Well, he might have had a chance there. Jonathan Carter working to the corner of the end zone. Mike McKenzie never got turned around to even see the ball. Had Kerry have been able to put that in a position to where Carter could have hauled the ball in, it might have been a touchdown. You take a look. Mike McKenzie is watching the receiver the entire time. Had Kerry have gotten that ball down, Carter would have caught it for a touchdown.
Amani Toomer suffered a concussion, so he is out. So the Giants losing Toomer on offense. Keith Hamilton and Sean Williams on the defensive side. So 3rd and 1, and here is Barber. Touchdown. He got the ball over the plane. And Baoju hanging on for dear life, but Tiki Barber gets the touchdown for the Giants. Well, it's got to be a battered body for him, the way it's gone for him this year and the work he has done.
Well, he was nicked up coming into the game. One of the reasons that Ron Dane was going to be featured. So not 100% coming in, and he's done a good job fighting through all the little injuries he's had. He had a slow start to the season, missed all of training camp, and I really think that affects a player's productivity in the beginning of the season. And Tiki just started hitting his stride about the midpoint of the year.
4th touchdown on the ground for Barber. Morton Anderson with the extra point. And with 12:45 to go in the 4th quarter, the Giants now trail the Pack 34-17. Headline on this one: Gone with the Wind, blowing in the wind. The Giants' chances going down the drain, floating, you name it. We'll start a contest. Owen Potchman with the kickoff, and here is Dorsey Levens, a hero today. His last kick returned 53 yards, setting up a score, and still fighting his way as he does to the 25-yard line. Looking for the perfect way to spend your evenings? It's not, no. Moose?
No comment.
Hand off to Amon Green. And Green picking up 4 yards. Lance Legree making the tackle, and the invitations may be in the mail as we speak.
You know, right now for the Green Bay Packers is a time, you know, you talk about the running game, and we did earlier in the game how they want to get that on track. You know, here's an opportunity now for them here in the 4th quarter to try to take time off the clock, get the running game going, and they've loosened them up enough over the course of the 3 quarters throwing the football that now I think you can test this offensive line and see if they're making progress in this running game.
2nd and 8 on the 7, that is, on the 28. Donald Driver in motion for Green Bay, and Favre sprinting out to his right, being chased by Strahan, and he gets rid of it and completes the pass to the 40-yard line to Donald Driver, and Strahan getting the closest to Brett Favre all day.
And he just does a great job of continuing to fight to the end of this play. We saw it early in the game. Tyrone Davis alone on Michael Strahan. He runs down the line, stops, changes direction. Just a bit of, Favre's got to know he's there. Look, he's got his eye. The reason he couldn't find a receiver down the field is because he was looking right at Michael Strahan.
I think when he stopped, he saw 92 go by, and he knew it was Michael Strahan, and he was going to get rid of the football.
Gain is 12, and the handoff to Amon Green, and Green gets hit by Michael Barrow after picking up 4 yards on the play. So the only thing really left for the Giants is Michael Strahan's bid to establish the NFL record for most sacks in a season. Mark Gastineau, who established it with 22 back in 1984 with the New York Jets, in attendance watching the game and actually rooting for Michael Strahan if he gets it. He's had it long enough. Strahan needs 1. 2nd and 6. Plenty of time remaining. There's the handoff to Green, and Sam Garnes will make the tackle, leaving Amon Green 2 yards short of the first.
Well, it shows you what a great accomplishment that was by Mark Gastineau that season. When you think of the players who've come since then and haven't beaten that record, Lawrence Taylor, Chris Dolman, some great pass rushers throughout the years from 1984 until now. So that's just that's a tremendous accomplishment. I think that's why people are excited for Michael Strahan this afternoon to get that.
And in the way in which he's handled it all year long. You know, he's a guy who he's never put this record in front of the team goals, and he would very gladly give up some of those sacks if it meant that they could get back to the Super Bowl like they did a year ago.
3rd down and 2, and Favre is going up top, and Schrader is there to make the catch. Bill Schrader with a sensational grab over the rookie Will Peterson, and the Packers with a 45-yard gain and a 1st and goal at the 7.
Well, as this year has progressed, the Giants have blitzed less and less because they didn't want to put these corners out on an island by themselves one-on-one. Right now, in trying to stop the run, they're singling up on the outside receivers. Bill Schrader running by Will Peterson, and again, giving up big plays, and that's been the downfall last week for this Giants team, and again today, the big plays that they've given up in the passing game.
Over 100 yards and a touchdown, and speaking of touchdowns, Amon Green close to the goal line, and no signal is given. The Packers are signaling touchdown, but until the stripes do it, it doesn't count.
I thought he got in.
Omar Stoutmeyer was a stout-hearted defender inside the 1. But Bill Schrader, who caught a 26-yarder to give the Packers the early lead off the opening drive, and that set the tone in this game.
Yeah, that set the tone, and you ask yourself, if the Packers do in fact score here, score a touchdown, how much longer will these starters remain in the game?
They're on the 1. Fumble. And they uncover, the Giants get it back. So the Packers on the fumble snap from the center, Jim Flanagan, or Mike Flanagan, I should say, and Brett Favre fumble, and the Giants recover. It's Lance Legree, I believe, who came up with the loose ball. A fumble on the miscommunication. Bad snap between center and quarterback at the 1. Spreading it out. Kerry Collins lining up in the end zone, and his pass out of the end zone caught by Juravicius at the 7-yard line. Under 8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Giants with a hurry up, trailing 34-17. Packers had run off 20 unanswered points before the Giants. Tiki Barber ran 10 yards for the score early here in the fourth. Second down and 3, and the pass is caught again by Juravicius and runs out of bounds, picking up the first down to the 22.
You know, it's interesting to watch them go to the no huddle. They had some success earlier when they went with the no huddle, and now it looks like they're having some success as well. And there's more of a sense of urgency when you do this. You're able to change the tempo of it a little bit. And they had tremendous success in the 2 big dramatic wins this year going to the no huddle. And many people suggested that maybe that's something that they should have incorporated more into this offense.
They go with the empty backfield, and 5 men line up as receivers on first down at the 22. Pump fake by Collins, just looking for anyone in the blue shirt, and will throw the ball away.
Well, again, Kerry Collins, he has some time to throw the football, but you take a look here at the receivers. They've got 5 wideouts and nowhere to really throw the football. You got him covered here, you got a cover here, you got 2 guys there, and all across the board, and Kerry's just waiting for somebody to try to get open so that he can deliver the ball, and he's not able to. And a lot of teams work on the scramble drill so that if a quarterback breaks contain, guys are at certain positions, but it didn't work for the Giants there.
Second down and 10. Here comes the blitz, and Kerry Collins tries to get it to Jonathan Carter, but covered well by Mike McKenzie as the Packers were sending defensive backs. Looked like the Eagles with the way they ran the blitz on that one.
It's a good changeup defensively. The last play they rush 3 and drop 8 into coverage. That time they bring Keith Thibodeau off the slot, and a little bit of a delayed blitz to allow Lomas Brown to get involved in his protection. So a good changeup by defensive coordinator Ed Donatel.
Tapiti Davis, number 82, is in the game. The Giants with 6 wide receivers active today, and Davis is in there now on the 3rd down and 10. And Collins steps up, and he's got Barber out of the backfield, and Barber will be stopped short of the first down, tackled at the 30 by Todd McBride and Tyrone Williams. And a slow getting up here is Tiki.
Well, and it's no wonder why he takes the pounding that he takes. He's having a hard time getting up there, and he takes the pounding in the running game. He's not a real big guy, but how many times just today have we seen him catch balls short of the first down, and he's trying to split 2 defenders and taking a real pounding in the process.
4th and 2, and the Giants trailing by 17. Go for it on 4th down, and the pass caught by Juravicius for the first down up to the 37-yard line.
You know, I like the fact, obviously, that they're in the no huddle, but with 6 minutes to play in this game, if they're going to, you know, if they're doing this just for recreation and just to work on something going into the offseason, that's great. But if, in fact, they're trying to get back into this game, they need to start reeling off more plays.
They need 3 scores to take the lead. Bad snap, low snap. And here is Greg Camella, who gets hit by Torrance Marshall, who came in briefly for Nate Wayne. And the clock stops with 5:49.
Yeah, we've seen some problems with snaps today.
That's a comebacker to the mound.
You know, that was bowling right there. It was a good job by Kerry Collins hanging with it and even being able to make the play.
Bowling for very few dollars. Second down and 1. And Camella drops the pass. He was open.
Well, the Packers are dropping 8 guys, and they're only rushing 11. They're not getting a lot of pressure on Kerry Collins, but the Giants are not even making the Packers have to cover anybody right now, that they're throwing everything underneath and making it real easy on this Packer defense.
Pittsburgh Steelers end on a high note, beating the Browns 28-7 after a bump in the road against Cincinnati last week. So the Steelers will have home field throughout in the AFC playoffs. And the St. Louis Rams need to beat Atlanta today to have the home field throughout in the NFC. Here is Collins with a whip pass caught by Juravicius. And Joe Juravicius has the first down inside the Packer 40. Bauju downfield defending and down at that.
And this is an unfortunate injury right now for the Green Bay Packers, because they have just been decimated with injuries at the safety position, and they are going to be very thin at that spot heading into the playoffs if Baoju is unable to go.
You're right, and they've been banged up defensively in other areas.
Boy, and that looked bad too, below right to it.
State, who started his 7th straight game for Leroy Butler, is shaken up. Billy Jenkins, number 23, takes his place at strong safety. 1st and 10 for the Giants on the Packer 39. Again, they spread the defense. Packers are rushing 4. Terry Collins fires it, and nearly a one-handed catch by Hilliard, incomplete. With under 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, the Packers leading the Giants 34-17, headed for a home wild card berth next week in the NFC playoffs. Dick Stockton, Troy Aikman, Darryl Johnston, and Pam Oliver. The Giants, trailing all the way, face a 2nd and 10 on the Green Bay 39-yard line. And Terry Collins, trying to get the Giants closer to scoring position, completes it to B.D. Davis. And the clock continues to run. Packers led 14-0. Giants came back and cut the lead to 14-10. Then 20 unanswered points by the Packers before the Giants scored a touchdown early in the 4th. And that's where we are, 34-17. Giants finishing up. Nothing to play for playoff-wise. They're out of it. 3rd down and 2, and Collins going to Juravicius up the middle, and it's broken up by Todd McBride. But let's bring up to date, guys, on how the game got to where it is.
Well, the Green Bay Packers started off, and that was the big story today, with Michael Strahan get that sack and set a new record. Green Bay came out and scored on their first 2 drives before Ike Hilliard made a great catch in the back of the end zone that showed the Giants weren't going to lay down this afternoon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's been a game really of big plays in the passing game, big plays in the running game. Right there, you see Corey Bradford running by Dave Thomas, and that's really been the storyline. Some of the big plays in the passing game that the Packers have been able to get against the Giants.
4th and 2 pass to B.D. Davis is good for the 1st down, and you touched on the Michael Strahan story, and it's still hanging in the balance. Coming into the game, Strahan needing 1 sack to establish an NFL record for a season held by Mark Gastineau, and so far he has been kept at bay. A couple of times getting close to Brett Favre, who threw the ball before Strahan could get to him. And Juravicius on the reception, picking up close to the 1st down with Thibodeau defending.
Well, and right now it doesn't look like Michael Strahan's going to get much of an opportunity to get the sack record. One, the Giants are taking up a lot of time off this clock, and then when the Packers get the ball, there's going to be no need for them to even throw the football. So how many more opportunities Strahan gets? It doesn't look like there'll be many.
Gary Collins looking for a receiver and throws the ball out of the end zone. The Packers secondary doing a good job today of making things difficult for Giant receivers. And the report on Baoju is that he has a stinger. Baoju, the strong safety, starting again for Leroy Butler, and he's on the bench. Billy Jenkins taking his place.
Well, and you just hope that that is the case, that it's just a stinger, because as Moose said, you know, they've been so decimated at the safety position. There's Leroy Butler, who missed time. He's out for the rest of the year. And Baoju, who's been young, inexperienced, has come along and made progress. The last thing they want to have happen is to lose a key player like him before this wild card game next week.
And a good point brought up by Moose as a flags fly, and Collins hitting Dan Campbell, and Campbell is wrestled down by Keith Thibodeau, but the penalty marker down. That is injuries to the defense. Gilbert Brown still out. Nate Wayne coming back, and he's not 100%. John Theory, the defensive end, put on injured reserve with a knee injury. And remember, Antoine Edwards, a very valuable, versatile back, going out with a knee earlier in the year.
And Allen Rossum, the return specialist for the Green Bay Packers, still not quite back from a knee scope that he's had, but a good news.
Offside, 98, defense, it's declined, 1st down.
But good news in that front is Dorsey Levin's play today on kickoff return has given the Green Bay Packers great field position on a couple of returns that really jump-started them in the 2nd half.
Boy, he sure has. 53-yard return. 1st and goal at the 7 for the Giants with 3:17 to go. And Collins pass to Brett Camella, and touchdown. He got over. Greg Camella scoring the touchdown for the Giants, who after falling behind 34-10 now have 2 touchdowns to creep closer. Niall Diggs is shaken up. He is the injured Packer.
Well, this is going to be interesting if Bowju can't play next week and maybe Niall Diggs is nicked here. What people will say about Mike Sherman having them on the football field at this time of the game with the score the way it was.
And I'm not sure he got in.
Yeah, the ball did not cross the plane, but it goes as a touchdown. Injury on the field, and we'll take the timeout. Now Diggs being worked on, but meanwhile the Packers have challenged. They already lost 1 challenge earlier. Johnny Greer will explain. Use up their 2 challenges, and a good thing here because it doesn't they're going to make the Giants work for it.
That's a mess.
Moose, I do agree with you, though. I mean, throw the fullback a bone.
Absolutely. You know that they're not going to hand the ball to Greg Camella here. It's going to Ron Dane or Tiki Barber, who's ever in. That was his shot. Coach Sherman, show a little compassion for the guy.
The poor fullback. The poor fullback. Well, maybe they'll go to Camella in any event.
He's not even on there.
There he goes.
He's got a chance now. At least he's in the backfield.
Ron Dane is the other back. 2nd and goal at the 1. And Kerry Collins looking to throw and intended for Dan Campbell. So it'll be 3rd down and goal with 2:54 on the clock.
He was out there with his hand. He was open. He beat his man. It's a conspiracy. Look at him. Throw. Give him a chance.
Yeah. Fullbacks are not getting any respect here. 3rd down and goal. And here's Ron Dane. Touchdown, Ron Dane. Give it to Dane. And the Giants now trailing 34-23 with 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. The Bears winning going away. They're up. They won 33-13 over the Jacksonville Jaguars and the San Francisco 49ers. 38-0 final over the New Orleans Saints as Niall Diggs leads the field, and that's going to be a problem for the Packers getting that defense healthy for a wild card game next week against the 49ers at Lambeau.
Well, you don't want to have problems in your run defense going against Garrison Hurst.
Giants going for the 2-point conversion. They were successful last week, and they go the other way, and walking in is Ron Dane. And the Giants now trailing 34-25. So they're down by 9, and it's a 2-score game for the Giants with 2:50 remaining. Now the Packers have to pay attention.
Well, who knows what the Giants have up their sleeve. We saw the 76 Lambeth special last week. Maybe they've got something else like that in that playbook.
And there is enough time for 2 scores, Mr. Aikman.
Well, there is enough time, and you know, to focus on the Green Bay Packers and you know where they're at right now and going into their wild card game next weekend. I think if you look at them offensively and what they've been able to do today, they have really done a nice job of moving the football, scoring points. They had the 2 fumbled snaps by Brett Favre, but other than that, they've really done a good job. They've gotten Amon Green off the ground, running the football well. But then if you take a look at this defense, they have really struggled stopping the run again. That's got to be a major concern going into next week.
Well, we want to thank some people who have done a great job, a great crew. We've already mentioned our producer Richie Zients and our director Artie Kempner, the associate director Greg Scopatoni, and our broadcast associates Jacob Ullman and David Duvall. The associate producer Fran Morrison. Today's technical director, as always, is Rich Basili. The technical producer Dean Walker, and the audio mixer is Jeff Cohen. And manning the cameras today, Pete Chalveris, Dave Geller, Andy Mitchell, and Mike Tatamir. Videotape, Jay Beckman, Victor Gonzalez, Paul Zecca, Jerry Hausfeld, and Lars Pacheco. Here comes the onside kick attempt by Owen Pochman, and it goes out of bounds, and there is a flag. Fred Medeiros, Gene Michael are our video operators, and there are more we want to thank. But before we do, we want to tell everyone this is Dick Stockton, Troy Aikman, Moose Johnston, Pam Oliver. Here at Giants Stadium, the Giants have come back after trailing 34-10, 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion, and trail now by 34-25 with 2:46 to go. Giants trying to prevent the Packers from getting home field next week.
We have a short free kick out of bounds. By rule, the ball will be placed at the out of bounds spot.
So the Packers will have it in good field position. Owen Pochman, one of 2 place kickers for the Giants. Well, the Giants were trying to get to Brett Favre, notably Michael Strahan, who needed 1 sack to set an NFL record. He has not gotten it. Packers have done a great job.
Yeah, that's a real Brett Favre fan right there. They misspelled the name.
It's Favre. 1st and 10 at the 42. And there we go! Michael Strahan gets the sack. Michael Strahan gets the sack. And you know what? No one's happier than Brett Favre. How about that? Brett Favre whispering to Michael Strahan, and just when you thought the big guy wasn't going to get it, he gets it. He gets the record.
Well, he got to give me is what he got, Dick.
Well,
And you know, Brett Favre. You know, you listen to Brett Favre's comments coming into this ball game, and there's a mutual respect there. And the guys in this league appreciate and respect the job that Michael Strahan has done and the way that he's handled himself throughout this season, and he's admired by many, and a great accomplishment by him.
And you see the Giants going over to tap Brett Favre on the helmet.
Well, Terry Bradshaw was right. I disagreed with him at the halftime. He said that Brett Favre, there was nobody else that wanted Michael to get that more than Brett, and he showed it right there. So a pretty classy maneuver by Brett Favre to allow Michael Strahan and the Packers.
The whole Packer team. Michael Strahan needed to calm down. He was a kid in Germany who didn't even want to play football. His dad made him go back and finish college. He looked at tapes of defensive ends. It's been a long and circuitous journey for Michael Strahan, but he has set the record most sacks in a season, surpassing Mark Gastineau with his 22nd and a half. And there is Mark Gastineau now down on the sideline.
Yeah, and I think, again, it just shows you, I can guarantee you this, playing 12 years in the National Football League, that if you weren't as well respected as what Michael Strahan is, Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers and Mike Sherman would have never allowed him to get that record today.
And he gets the sack with the game still hanging in the balance, believe it or not. 2nd down and 17 at the 35-yard line, and the handoff is to Amon Green. So Michael Strahan, 22.5 sacks, and he is overcome on the Giants sideline.
There's Brett Favre right there coming out. And I don't think he's had an easier sack than that one right there. And Brett Favre obviously wanting Michael Strahan to get that sack record.
2-minute warning. Those that are here happy. Giving every Giant teammate a hug here, and Brett Favre, 3rd and 13, running it for the first time today, is brought down. The clock continues to run. Dhani Jones on the play.
Well, let's go back right before that sack, and you'll see right here a little meeting at the ball as the ball is being waited to put back into play. So maybe a little discussion there before. And then here we are, an anticlimactic record-breaking sack by Michael Strahan.
Well, I remember when Denny McLain threw a lollipop to Mickey Mantle, who had a significant home run at Tiger Stadium in Detroit at the end of his career. Of course, Strahan still has years to go. So that kind of thing has happened. Josh Bidwell punting, and Ron Dixon, the return man, is back inside the 10-yard line. Packers are leading by 9 points, and Dixon is down at the 5 by Matt Bowen. We have more people we want to thank right now with 1:02 remaining, and the hugs continue for Michael Strahan. We have had a great job all year in graphics. Mark Fasori, and in audio, Larry Meyer and Don Wilson, who's up here in the booth every week. Today's truck engineers, Mel Shields, Mike Muniz, Josh Scholl, and Kelly Kiesler. And of course, our spotter has been Chris Visser, and our statisticians are Mike Steve Pack, Barry Strump, and up here in the booth for 12 years now, Dave Corus. Thanks to everybody for a job well done. 1:02 remaining. Back into his end zone is Kerry Collins, completes to Camella, who gets it out to the 13-yard line. Under a minute remaining.
Well, there's Jim Fossil congratulating Michael Strahan on the record, and I had an opportunity to talk with Michael Strahan before the game today and what it would mean to him to break the record. And I just can't express how much that this has meant to him, but more importantly, the way in which he has handled it. He has always kept the team in front of his individual record, and he would, as I said earlier, he would very much rather be in the Super Bowl and give up half of those sacks than have the record and have the team staying home for the playoffs.
Guys, remember what he told us a couple of weeks ago? He said, I remember when I didn't have a good year, I used to take sacks for granted. Now he appreciates every one he gets. Detroit Lions beat the Dallas Cowboys in the finale. They wind up with 2 victories. And the pass is not caught. Out of bounds is Ron Dixon with 4 seconds to go in the game. The Giants, as a team, a disappointing finish, an underachieving team this year in many respects. And the Green Bay Packers, they have more business to attend to as they will host the 49ers at Lambeau, where they have never lost a postseason game next week. And on Fox, you'll either see the game between the Niners and the Packers or Tampa Bay at Philadelphia, as now the playoffs will begin. And of course, the Super Bowl will be right here on Fox as well. So the fun is just getting started. The pass is caught. Here's a Lambert special, and Ron Dixon is brought down. So the Giants finished the last 2 games with the 76 Lambert special, and the season is over for the New York Giants. The top 2 sackers in the game, Strahan and Baja Biamella. The Giants will finish at 7-9, not making the playoffs as they have for the 3 years after their 3 Super Bowl appearances, and the Green Bay Packers will go to postseason with a 12-4 record. Only the 7